Welcome to the Inside Nutley podcast. I'm your host, Tom Greco, and I'm pleased to be joined by Mayor Dr. Joseph P. Scarpelli, Director, Department of Public Works. Welcome, Mayor. Last time we spoke on Inside Nutley, we discussed your background and your career as a lifelong Nutley resident and business owner, as well as your accomplishments. For this month's podcast, I'd like to focus more on the Public Works Department, as well as topics that concern the Township. Let's do a quick recap. Your family has lived in Nutley for generations, correct?
Yeah, my family has been here since 1891. My grandchildren will be the seventh generation of Scarpellis to live in the Township of Nutley.
And the Scarpelli family has served the community for as long as I can remember.
My dad was first elected in 1983. He served 24 years as the Department of Public Works Commissioner, and in 2008 he retired. In 2008 I got elected to the Board of Commissioners.
Your grandpa served as well, right?
My grandfather was involved for many years. He ran 5 times for commissioner. Since 1964, he came to every commission meeting that I can remember.
Was it always public works for the Scarpellis?
Always public works for the Scarpelli family. My dad, we had a construction business that we ran. We did construction, snow plowing, so kind of fit in. And that's a business I grew up in and plowed snow from when I was 16 years old till I started my chiropractic business.
As well as a gardening business.
My dad and my brother, who passed away, had a garden center in Belleville for many, many years, Jolie Garden Center.
Before we get into the various areas and events of the DPW, let's start with what I think you're most renowned for, and that's the speed and reaction of the department when it snows. Tell us about that.
The Department of Public Works does a very, very good job in plowing snow. And we have for many, many years. We have a whole system that's involved. We pre-treat the roads. We have priority roads. We go to the main roads first, then the hills, and then we go to the secondary and tertiary roads. And I think we do the best job in this whole entire area.
Honestly, I don't really think it's just this area. I think it's probably, it may be the tri-state area, actually. Because when you drive around, whether you're up and down the state after a big snowstorm or whatever kind of snowstorm, or even if you go out of state and come in, people all around, they always say, the roads in Nutley are black. It's the next day. It's less than 24 hours. Roads are black. How does that happen? Tell us.
So one of the things that we do is that we divide the town up into sections. And because we divide the town up into sections, we assign the same person to that section for each storm. So they become very familiar with what they have to do, the different roads, even as much as which raised manholes are in that area. They know. And it's so much to have these experienced guys out there and girls plowing the roads.
But also it comes from the top, which is you.
Well, I don't want to take too much credit. I mean, but listen, I think my experience in the snow plowing business does help. I know what it's like to plow, and I'm even out there plowing snow myself during the storms. You'll see me in the Jeep plowing different areas.
As mayor and also as head of DPW, you must hear it a lot from other towns, or you must be asked a lot of times by other towns. What's the secret?
I don't want to give away too many secrets, but yeah, sure. We have other towns that call us up and say, how do you do it? What do you do? And I'll tell you, having experienced men and women, having really good equipment also helps.
Let's discuss some of the DPW's program and events. Let's start with the most recent one. It happened a couple of days ago. It's the Beautification Day Project with the Chamber of Commerce.
The Chamber of Commerce and I meet monthly, and one of the things that came out of one of those meetings was they wanted to do a community service project. So what we did was we said, okay, we're going to paint the meter poles and the lamp posts. They provided all the volunteers. We provided some of the materials that they used, and we had a great day sprucing up the Franklin Avenue and some of the other districts in town. They picked up some of the garbage that was around in the flower pots, and it was a really great day. And I have to say that little bit of paint made such a big difference in the town. Franklin Avenue is a big part and the lifeblood of our town and our business district. And, doing these beautification projects, it's like the broken windows theory to me. If you keep it nice, it's going to stay nice. And so upgrading the avenue, upgrading the front of the high school is very important to what people think when they just drive through on Franklin Avenue. You have outsiders come in and they look at the front of the high school now and say, hey, this must be a quality town. Look at how nice that high school looks.
I know that through the department, Nutley has one of the most prestigious recycling programs. Can you tell us about some of them?
Oh, we have a lot of recycling programs. In fact, we've gotten awards for some of our recycling programs. First of all, we're a dual stream system, which means that some people have single stream where they put everything into one container. We've always kept them separate, paper in one, commingled in the other, and that's helped us recover money from our recycling vendor because it leads to a more cleaner project. It's a commodity, and we get paid based on the cleanliness of what we recycle.
As a resident, I think, one of the cooler things is that, really how accessible the programs are. Whether the town comes and picks the stuff up or whether we have to drop them off. I mean, it's a pretty simple process.
So one of the things we did that now has been copied throughout the county and the state was shredding day. We were the first municipality to do shredding day. And we always do it around tax time and then people getting rid of all their sensitive documents. And we've done that now for over 10 years.
Another recent event was Student Government Day. I know you enjoy that.
The Student Government Day is a great day. It's a Nutley tradition for over 60 years where we have students shadow some of the people in town, the commissioners and some of the department heads. And it's a great day where they learn about government. They're able to impart that knowledge at a luncheon to the rest of the students. And we find it to be a great day in Nutley. And, it's enjoyable for us, too, to have young people out there learning about how our government operates.
But the question is, did you take part in Student Government Day when you were in high school?
I did take part in Student Government Day when I was in high school a long time ago. It was a little different. We spent the whole day and then we'd get dressed up and we had a dinner and then we'd have to give a speech. And then the person who gave the best speech got a $100 bond. And that's changed over the years. Now we get gift cards. Everybody gets a gift card. It's appreciation for all of their hard work. And we're proud that Nutley Unico helps sponsor that.
It's pretty amazing how things tend to come full circle, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You have a different perspective when you participated in this in the past, and now you're kind of running it.
I know another thing that you put a lot of time into that everyone loves is the farmers market.
The farmers market has been, I think we're in our 15th year, and it's a really great program. It started out of the Green Nutley Committee. Myself and at the time Mayor Cacciola started Green Nutley and the farmers market, and we proceeded to where we are today, where I think we have one of the best farmers markets in the area. We have our two market managers that manage the farmers market. They're there bright and early in the morning to make sure that everybody gets in their own position and make it safe. You'd be surprised how much work goes into getting everybody set up, unloaded, and out of that area and set up for people to come at 9 o'clock.
How often do you do the farmers market, and about how many vendors do you see each week?
It's a 20-week program, the farmers market, every Sunday from June to October. And we have anywhere between 15 and 20 vendors every week. We have a winter market, and we also have 2 spring markets. And it's just a way to keep people aware and ready for our summer market, which is our bread and butter.
You never realize how many things go on in town from each department until you get involved. For example, the DPW. Just this past week, you not only had Beautification Day, Student Government Day, you also had Compost Day, which I had no idea. Not only did I know it didn't exist, I had no idea what it was. Can you explain that?
So Compost Day is something we started where we get back from our vendor, where we send our leaves, we get compost. And compost is a great thing for gardeners. They put it in their garden. They mix it. Some people put a top dressing on their lawn. And compost is those leaves that have been decomposed and now is full of nitrogen and nutrients for your garden and for your lawn.
As I said, going through these programs and, from all the departments, and as a lifelong resident myself, and not knowing about half of these programs, it makes you think: is Nutley unique? Are we different? Are we the only ones that have, I don't want to say hundreds, but dozens and dozens and dozens of programs going on what seems like 52 weeks a year?
Well, we are different. I mean, I think Nutley is special. I love this town. And we try to initiate these new programs, and then we see other towns start to copy them. We started Shredding Day, Compost Day we started. We started a community garden. All these things have, been copied and emulated. And, what they say is imitation is the biggest form of flattery.
Mayor, I've known you a long time, and I know you're a humble man. You've always been a humble man. But I think, especially when you're the head of a department that is maybe other than revenue and finance, the most anonymous department in town. But you guys do a lot of things, and again, you're the head of the snake, and I think sometimes you deserve more credit than you're willing to take.
I always say that public works takes care of all the things you don't see, plus the things you see. So, providing clean, safe water, very important. Making sure that what you flush down the toilet, what you wash down your sink, all gets taken away without backing up into your basement. Those are things that we do on an everyday basis, getting rid of the storm water, all taken care of by Public Works. Then put in our special events, our snow plowing, recycling, street cleaning, parking lots that we take care of, the meters that we take care of. Public Works is an integral part of this town. Without Public Works, the town doesn't function.
You might say that department is taken for granted. No, wait. I know you wouldn't say that. I will say maybe that department is taken for granted.
I don't know about taking for granted, Thomas, but we do enjoy a very good public works department. We have great men and women that work for us, and we really appreciate the work they do on an everyday basis. And they do the work, and I get the credit, which is pretty good.
Okay, let's get back to some of the programs. The Leaf Bag Distribution Day and Food Drive. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So yeah, that's something that we initiated, is giving away leaf bags. And then because the food pantry always needs some help, we decided to let's combine some things. We're giving away free leaf bags. Let's get something back from the people. Let them provide some community service. So yeah, we asked them to bring some food and help stock the food pantry. We have a lot of people who are in need. We get over 150 people who weekly get food at our food pantry, and they're Nutley residents. So we want to help them out.
So you find that Nutley is a very giving community.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised that people are so glad to give that food when they come and get their leaf bags.
Another program most people probably don't know about is the RAKES Program, RAKES. Tell us about that.
We talked about Student Government Day. That was one of the initiatives that came out of Student Government Day. One of the first student government days I was involved, a student got up and said, how can we help seniors rake their leaves? And the next year we instituted the RAKES program. And we have volunteers that come out, different community groups. They come out and they rake the homes of seniors, usually during Thanksgiving weekend. And it's a great program. And it came out of Student Government Day. So it came out of the students themselves.
What kind of participation do you get?
We do over 75 homes in town and rake the leaves for those people. And, mostly seniors, some disabled people, but yeah.
I think one of the most fun events that people love to come to, especially the kids, is Big Truck Day.
Big Truck Day is a great day. We have all these little kids come out, and they get a little plastic construction hat, and they go and they sit in these big machines and the trucks and blow the horns and pull the diesel horn, and it's just a great day.
That kind of event's got to be pretty special for someone like you who's lived here all your life, and then you become commissioner, become mayor, you get to give back something special, like an event like that.
How easy is it? We have the equipment. All we do is put it in a parking lot. We get some guys out there to making sure the kids get in and out of the truck safely, but it's a great day. Smile on these kids' faces puts a smile on my face.
I think the two biggest events in town each year are the 4th of July and Christmas. I think it pulls in the most people. It seems to be the most popular. Those two seem to be the most popular events of the year. And as mayor, you play an integral part in putting them together. Let's take us through those events. Let's start with 4th of July.
Well, the mayor gets to run the big events like 4th of July, but it's really a collaboration between all the departments. It starts a year in advance, making you secure the people who are going to do the fireworks, and then getting all the vendors and making sure that they're all in place. They get all their approvals that they need, whether it's food or from the fire department. And it's a great event held in the center of town, held at the Park Oval. Got thousands of people show up that night. Hopefully we get a good weather night. We get entertainment from our DJ, and it's just a great night for Nutley, and happy birthday to America.
Let's get into the responsibilities of the DPW and what it takes to keep the department running smoothly. I think one of the biggest issues that the town has been concerned with over the last at least a decade has been the roads and the paving. I know a lot of people have looked to blame the department, the DPW department, and you for the reason why there's potholes or why the roads are a mess or why they're not paved or anything. But there's a lot more to it than that. In fact, it really has to do with more with PSE&G than the Department of Public Works, correct?
So over the last 6 or so years, Public Services has a gas main replacement program, and they started on one end of town. They've now worked their way through the town, but it's actually been, although we put up with some of the inconvenience of them doing that, over 70% of the town has been repaved because of Public Service and the work they've done, either through them or through our efforts in repaving those roads. Some of the roads are a mess right now because the Public Service has not finished the project on the northwest side of town, but they'll be done shortly, and they'll repave those roads. High Street's being repaved currently by the county. Freeland Avenue is going to be paved by the town, and Coyman later in the summer will be repaved by the town. So a lot of the roads in that, especially in the northwest side of town, are a little beat up, but they'll all be repaved. And like I said, we've worked with Public Service and collaborated with them over the last 6 years. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to repave as many roads as we have.
But you've taken a lot of the blame for something that's basically not your fault.
Oh, listen, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
I know I sound like a broken record when I keep harping on the fact that the department seems to get taken for granted sometimes. But I mean, people drive around town, for the most part, and they look around. It's a beautiful town. We all love it. But yet they see a crack in the sidewalk, or they go over one or two potholes, and all of a sudden, everything goes crazy. How do you deal with that?
So I can tell you one of the things that we do is I drive around every weekend and I make a list of things that I see, and our department gets on it. Whether it's a street sign that's down, whether it's a pothole somewhere, it's something that I do and I have done for the last 16 years. Is I take that as my responsibility on the weekends to drive around, see what's going on, and see what we can do to improve things.
We also have weekly curbside recycling pickup. Do other towns do that?
Recycling is mandatory, and what we've done over the years is that we have outsourced half of our recycling, which has saved us some manpower costs over the years. And so the commingled is picked up by Basso, but the paper is still picked up by the Department of Public Works at curbside every week. Some towns go bi-weekly, some towns go once a month, but we do it every week, and we think it's a very successful program. And it's part of what keeps the town looking nice, and people don't have to store those kind of materials in their house for a long period of time.
There are so many things that the town provides that people aren't aware of until they actually need them. For example, I never gave the fire department a second thought until I had a fire in my office, and they were there within 2 minutes. And the same thing goes for the 24/7 water and sewer service that the DPW provides. I never gave it, a thought until I had a water backup in my house. I called the department, and they were there within 2 minutes, I would say. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we respond 24/7 to any kind of water or sewer emergency. If you have sewer water backing up into your basement, it's definitely an emergency to you, and it's an emergency to us, and we respond. People, if it's during the day, they call the Public Works Department. If at night, they call the police department, and we will be out there within minutes to find out what's going on. And if you have a water main break in the middle of the night, and they always seem to happen in the middle of the winter, the coldest night of the year, our guys are out there and they're digging a hole and getting in a ditch and fixing that water main. And it's good to have guys that you can count on in that situation.
That's the kind of thing that, that it really kind of rubs me the wrong way when people complain about the town. Yes, you can talk about taxes. Taxes are a fact of life. The old saying, the only two certain things are death and taxes. But when you live someplace that if something goes wrong at any time of day or night, that you can call, whether it be a fire whether it be water or whatever. You can make a call, and the town is there within minutes, literally within minutes. I don't think you could put a price on that. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't think you could put a price on that. And I think that's something very special about the town we live in.
I think Nutley's a special place.
I know as head of the DPW, you oversee the parking lots and the parking meters in town. But as mayor, I want to ask you a question about something else, and that's overnight parking. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the overnight parking ban is something that we should never get rid of. We talked about snow plowing before. You cannot plow the roads properly with cars on the road. And I can tell you that over the years, not having those cars parked overnight is a tremendous advantage when we're plowing snow. Go look at some of our surrounding municipalities that have parking on the street, and you could hardly fit one row of traffic through there. So I'm in favor of the overnight. I know some people come here and think, oh, well, why do I have to keep my car off the street? But as far as the safety is concerned and snow plowing, having a ban on overnight parking is a great thing for that.
The department has won numerous awards under your leadership. Tell us about some of those.
Some of the awards we've won have been for recycling, and the initiatives that we've had, like the trophy recycling, like compost, like shredding day. All those things were some of the things that we've won recycling awards for. We also early on did a water leak detection service, which saved about 500,000 gallons of water per day that we were losing. And that was one of the initiatives that we did when I first got elected, and we won an award for that. And, we've changed out some lead services. That's another thing that we've been recognized for. So a lot of the things that we do in our department have been recognized on a local level and on a state level.
Speaking of water, what about the Nutley Well?
We recently have renovated the well. We moved it. We made it more aesthetically pleasing. It's a great little spot, and hopefully, it's open soon. What people don't know about the well, it actually goes through a triple filtration process to come out. So that water is pristine when it comes out. No worries about contaminants or anything else. And it's one of the Nutley treasure that's been around for a long time.
What about the Mayor Walk and Talk?
As part of the farmers market, we have a walk every Sunday. And usually the first one of the year is the Mayor's Walk and Talk, where I travel to certain areas of town that I think are important for people to learn about. And then we have other people who come during the year and give talks. We've had John Demmer and Dave Wilson all come and give talks and walk around the town. So it's a little bit healthy and it's a little informative all at the same time.
Another great thing about Nutley is how accessible the commissioners are, and the mayor, of course. And along those lines, you've created something called Meet the Mayor. It's happening this weekend, I believe, May 4th.
Yeah, so we're going to have a mayor's meet and greet on May 4th at the DPW garage. And it's an opportunity for people to come down, meet me, talk to me, ask me any questions that they have. Also, we can provide them with recycling containers if they need it. But it's certainly a day where we're available for our residents to ask questions of the mayor.
Let's talk about Welcome Day for all the new companies on 3.
So Welcome to Nutley Day was initiated for our tenants on 3. And we wanted, one, to get them off the campus, get them used to coming into town, and then introduce them to our businesses. So we have our businesses line the park and, get out, and we have our vendors, our restaurants and our eateries provide free food, little samples for all the people on 3, the students, the employees. And it's a great day for people to understand what Nutley is all about and what we have to offer, and show the accessibility of Nutley right off the campus and in beautiful Nichols Park.
Speaking of On 3, let's discuss some of the bigger issues that are going on in town.
So let's start with On 3. I think so much progress has been made there. When Roche left, we were left with 5 vacant buildings, and they said it would be 20 years before we'd fill those buildings again. We attracted the medical school, which was so important to act as the anchor. We now have a pharmaceutical firm there, Aze Pharmaceutical. We have Ralph Lauren, one of the best clothing manufacturers in the world. We have Modern Meadow, which produces leather in the laboratory. We have YMABS, which is a pediatric cancer research. We have Hackensack Center for Discovery and Innovation, which does all kinds of cancer research, worked on the development of the vaccine during the COVID. On the Clifton side, we have Quest Diagnostics, but that whole campus has been reinvented and repurposed, and I believe it's the leading innovation hub in the whole entire metropolitan area. We have life sciences back on that campus that left when Roche left, and I think it's the future of our municipality on how that site gets redeveloped and repurposed. There's some vacant parcels now that we've also secured some of the land uses. We're hoping to have a research and development facility, laboratory on one of the vacant parcels, which is west of the railroad tracks. And then south of Kingsland, we hope to have a data center there in the very, very near future.
I think a lot of people who've been here a long time, and also those who have moved in since, either have forgotten or don't know how dire the consequences were once Roach left. And I think that the fact that we've regained so much of that so quickly, I mean, in record time, like you said, they said it was going to take 2 decades, 25 years, whatever. And here we are, maybe 10 years out, a little over 10 years out, and most of the campus is full. The commissioners, those who were there then and those that are here now, you have to take some credit for that. But that process was long and painful. Do you want to take us through some of that?
When Roche left, we lost $10 million in tax revenue. And what could have been devastating, the commissioners worked to control costs and went to the state and got transitional aid for the town during that period of time. We repurposed the campus, we brought in more ratables, and we're not quite back to that 10 million, but once that site is fully developed, it will be close or over the $10 million that we lost. And I don't think that the commissioners get enough credit for that in surviving what could have been devastating to the town.
I don't think it's a stretch to say that getting Roach or On 3 back on track and rebuilt so quickly was probably the most important thing to happen to the town in the last 25 years, if not more.
Absolutely. That was always On 3 and Hoffman LaRoche was always a economic dynamo for the town. They provided jobs. It was a big rateable for the town. And to have lost that and then now see it revive itself and repurpose itself is exciting. It's exciting for the future of the town, and it's exciting that the working together, I think this Board of Commissioners really brought back what could have been something that would have been devastating.
Let's switch over to a newer concern. In the last couple of years, it seems like smoke shops have opened up on every corner. Not Nutley necessarily, but everywhere you look. I think in Nutley we don't have that many, but that's due to things that you guys have done, correct?
Seemed like overnight we had 3 smoke shops in town. And so what are we going to do about it? Because, they're all legal enterprises. But what we did is we put an ordinance in place that limits future smoke shops from ever opening in town again. And when these go away, they won't be able to reopen. We instituted a whole smoking ordinance, and that was to ban the smoke shops. But the effects of electronic smoking devices, we don't know what that is on our youth. And it's something that we're very concerned about, the health of our youth, the different things that they're putting into their lungs, that we don't know what the future is about those. So we thought it was important, not only for other reasons, but also for the health of people and the health of our youth.
Like many other municipalities, Hurricane Ida brought quite a bit of flooding problems to Nutley. Do you want to talk about that experience?
One of the things we did very early on was we purchased 3 properties on Donna Court, and we turned that into a nice meadow down in Donna Court, and we prevented most of the flooding down in that area. During Ida, we did have some flooding down there, but during Ida was a tremendous storm that I don't think we could have prevented flooding anywhere. But since that time, we've did an H&H study, which looks at all the sizing of our pipes, how everything drains in the town, and we've come up with some recommendations. We've already made some changes that we think made a change in the way our floodwater is getting rid of now, and I think the future of the town and some of the things we're going to do are going to help prevent some of the future, not from anything like Hurricane Ida, but certainly on our normal rainstorms.
A few years ago, the town purchased the Ciccolini Property. Where does that project stand as of now?
The Ciccolini project is something we purchased, and we purchased it so we could maintain control of what happened there. It was scheduled to be purchased and for an apartment complex to go in there, and we were going to lose the traditional parking that we had down there. By purchasing it, we maintain control. We're going to have a 5,000 square foot park. We're going to maintain 125 public parking spaces, and we're going to control what happens down there. We want to make sure by working with our residents that that project becomes a signature project for the town and something that spurs revitalization of Franklin Avenue.
Looking back, what stands out most for you during this term as mayor?
As you know, Commissioner Tucci and I split this term 2 years apiece. And that was something I think was beneficial for the town for so many different reasons. And coming out of the pandemic, we've revitalized everything that could happen. We had so many things, so many businesses that kind of went out during the pandemic, and now you see business coming back. You see the town revitalized. And I think surviving the pandemic, dealing with Hurricane Ida, all those things were very important in coming forward to where we are today. And I'm very excited about the future of Nutley, and I want to continue for being commissioner here.
A few months before the end of the last mayorship, before this one, the pandemic hit. Tell me some of the things that you remember from that time.
Well, first it was the unknown, right? We really didn't know how this was going to affect us, how it was transmitted. You know, there were people dying, and it was a time where businesses were closed and some were open, just for takeout. And so one of the things we wanted to make sure is our businesses kind of tried to survive that. And so we put online their hours, their menus, that they delivered. And it was just something we thought to keep businesses surviving, because it was a fear of the unknown of what was going to happen.
You were one of who knows how many that were in a political position dealing with something that had never happened before, at least in our lifetime. What kind of toll did it take on you personally?
I can tell you that I kind of felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders when the pandemic hit, and when the first person who passed away in Nutley. I can't tell you the way I felt. It was terrible. You almost felt responsible, yet you had nothing to do with what was going on. It was out of your control. But because of the position you were in, you felt so responsible. It was a very trying time. I can remember there was a press conference, and they announced that one of the first COVID cases was in Nutley. And it was like, oh my God, it's coming home. It's coming to us. And I was so upset that we didn't know previous to that. I called up and said, how could you not let us know? And they said, Mayor, there's a lot more to come.
I think a lot of people have forgotten just how devastating and scary a time that was. I remember sitting home with my kids and my wife and just really looking at each other and like, what do we do now? It was just, I don't know, it was kind of like a Twilight Zone kind of time. But you as mayor and the rest of the commissioners, I mean, the leadership in town was incredible. And I think people forget that as well. We've never been challenged by anything like that, yet you guys stepped up and got us through it. Incredible circumstances, and Nutley stood proud. Again, kudos to you guys. Hell of a job. And then, of course, you went back a couple months later. Was the election, and Commissioner Tucci was elected mayor, or you guys tied actually, and you switched places. What's the biggest difference between being mayor and being a commissioner?
Well, as far as my everyday responsibilities as commissioner, they haven't changed. The mayor brings on a little bit more responsibility. You run the meetings but you also run the events, and you have a lot more time that you need to put in with public events. And listen, I enjoy both things, and it's fun being here. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it.
Mayor, we've known each other for well over 50 years. I could still see you in Mrs. McMillan's debate class junior year at Nutley High. Even then, I could tell that community service was in your heart. Now, almost 40 years of service later, do you think you'd do anything different?
I would not do anything different. I'd live my life the same way as it is, and giving back to this township is something that was instilled in me as a young boy, and I'm gonna continue giving back to this township. I have a vested interest in this town. I live here. I have a business here. My kids live here, and my grandkids are growing up here. So I want it to remain the Nutley I remember when I was a kid.
By any chance, by having me in that class, do you think I inspired your political career?
I do not.
That's what I thought. Let's turn a little serious now. Looking to the future, how do you see Nutley moving forward?
Nutley moving forward is something that, it's a balancing act between keeping this town the way it is and the way we remember. And if you're stagnant, it's not good. You die. So we have to be, so much as we change and move forward, we have to remember our traditions, and at the same time recognize that we have to move forward as a municipality to compete with the surrounding municipalities around us.
Recently, Realtor.com released a report that said Nutley was 34th on the list of the hottest real estate markets in the nation. In the nation, not just the state, 34th in the nation. That's pretty incredible. What do you attribute that to?
I attribute it to that we're a fine municipality that's well run.
But you're the mayor of the 34th hottest real estate market in the country. That's pretty astonishing, no?
34th in the country. Listen, our property values have really tremendously increased. And it's a lot of things. I was kidding about how the town is run, but we have a beautiful town. We have beautiful parks. It's well maintained. We're close to Manhattan. We have a good school system. We just have a lot of things that are going for us that sometimes are taken for granted by people.
What are your favorite things about Nutley?
My favorite thing about Nutley is the people and their community spirit and their volunteerism. We have more volunteerism, more booster clubs, PTOs that are active, service clubs, and the people who just give back to this community is what really is inspiring, and it's what's special about Nutley, and it's my favorite thing about Nutley is the people.
Thanks for joining us, Mayor. We'll see you next time on Inside Nutley.